The Song of Hiawatha is an 1855 epic poem in trochaic tetrameter by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow which features Native American characters. The epic relates the fictional adventures of an Ojibwe warrior named Hiawatha and the tragedy of his love for Minnehaha, a Dakota woman. Events in the story are set in the Pictured Rocks area of Michigan on the south shore of Lake Superior. Longfellow's poem is based on oral traditions surrounding the figure of Manabasho, but it also contains his own innovations. Longfellow drew some of his material from his friendship with Ojibwe chief Kashgagabo, who would visit at Longfellow's home. He also had frequent encounters with Black Hawk and other Sauk people on Boston Common, and he drew from Algebra Researches, 1839, and other writings by Henry Rowe Schoolcraft, an ethnographer and United States Indian agent, and from Heckwelder's narratives. In sentiment, scope, overall conception, and many particulars, Longfellow insisted, "I can give chapter and verse for these legends. Their chief value is that they are Indian legends." Longfellow had originally planned on following Schoolcraft in calling his hero Manabasho, the name in use at the time among the Ojibwe of the south shore of Lake Superior for a figure of their folklore who was a trickster and transformer. But he wrote in his journal entry for June 28, 1854, "Work at Manabasho, or, as I think I shall call it, Hiawatha, that being another name for the same personage." Longfellow was following Schoolcraft, but he was mistaken in thinking that the names were synonymous. The name Hiawatha is derived from a historical figure associated with the League of the Iroquois, then located in New York and Pennsylvania. The popularity of Longfellow's poem nevertheless led to the name Hiawatha becoming attached to a number of locales and enterprises in the Great Lakes region. The poem was published on November 10, 1855, by Ticknor and Fields and was an immediate success. In 1857, Longfellow calculated that it had sold 50,000 copies. Longfellow chose to set the Song of Hiawatha at the Pictured Rocks, one of the locations along the south shore of Lake Superior favored by narrators of the Manabasho stories. The song presents a legend of Hiawatha and his lover Minnehaha in 22 chapters, and an introduction. Hiawatha is not introduced until chapter 3. In chapter 1, Hiawatha's arrival is prophesied by a mighty peace-bringing leader named Gitche Manito. Chapter 2 tells a legend of how the warrior Mudjkiwis became father of the four winds by slaying the great bear of the mountains, Mishamokwa. His son Waban, the east wind, falls in love with a maiden whom he turns into the morning star, Wabananung. Waban's brother, Kabibonaka, the north wind, bringer of autumn and winter, attacks Shinjibis, the diver. Shinjibis repels him by burning firewood, and then in a wrestling match. A third brother, Shawandasi, the south wind, falls in love with a dandelion, mistaking it for a golden-haired maiden. In chapter 3, in Unremembered Ages, a woman named Nokomis falls from the moon. Nokomis gives birth to Winona, who grows to be a beautiful young woman. Nokomis warns her not to be seduced by the west wind, Mudjkiwis, but she does not heed her mother, becomes pregnant and bears Hiawatha. In the ensuing chapters, Hiawatha has childhood adventures, falls in love with Minnehaha, slays the evil magician Pearl Feather, invents written language, discovers corn and other episodes. Minnehaha dies in a severe winter. The poem closes with the approach of a birch canoe to Hiawatha's village, containing the priest of prayer, the paleface. Hiawatha welcomes him joyously, and the black-robed chief brings word of Jesus Christ and the Blessed Virgin. Hiawatha and the chiefs accept the Christian message. Hiawatha bids farewell to Nokomis, the warriors, and the young men, giving them this charge: "But my guests I leave behind me / listen to their words of wisdom, listen to the truth they tell you. having endorsed the conversion of the Ojibwe people to the Roman Catholic Church. Hiawatha, similarly. Historical Iroquois Hiawatha. Apparently no connection, apart from name, exists between Longfellow's hero and the 16th century Iroquois chief Hiawatha who co-founded the Iroquois League. Longfellow took the name from works by Schoolcraft, whom he acknowledged as his main source. In his notes to the poem, Longfellow cites Schoolcraft, a tradition prevalent among the North American Indians, of a personage of miraculous birth, who was sent among them to clear their rivers, forests, and fishing grounds, and to teach them the arts of peace. He was known among different tribes by the several names of Mishabou, Kiabo, Manabozo, Taranyawagan, and Hiawatha. Longfellow's notes make no reference to the Iroquois or the Iroquois League or to any historical personage. However, according to ethnographer Horatio Hale, 1817–1896, there was a long-standing confusion between the Iroquois leader Hiawatha and the Iroquois deity Aron-Hiawagan because of an accidental similarity in the Onondaga dialect between their names. The deity, he says, was variously known as R. Schoolcraft made confusion worse by transferring the hero to a distant region and identifying him with Manabasho, a fantastic divinity of the Ojibways. Schoolcraft's book has not in it a single fact or fiction relating either to Hiawatha himself or to the Iroquois deity Aron-Hiawagan. In 1856, Schoolcraft published The Myth of Hiawatha and Other Oral Legends Mythologic and Allegoric of the North American Indians, reprinting, with a few changes, S. Schoolcraft dedicated the book to Longfellow, whose work he praised highly. The U.S. Forest Service has said that both the historical and poetic figures are the sources of the name for the Hiawatha National Forest. Indian words recorded by Longfellow. Longfellow cites the Indian words he used as from the works by Henry Rowe Schoolcraft. The majority of the words were Ojibwa, with a few from the Dakota, Cree and Onondaga languages. Though the majority of the Native American words included in the text accurately reflect pronunciation and definitions, some words appear incomplete. For example, the Ojibwe words for blueberry are mean, plural, mealan, for the berries and meenagawans, plural, meenagawanig, for the bush upon which the berries grow. Longfellow uses meenaga, which appears to be a partial form for the bush, but he uses the word to mean the berry. Critics believe such mistakes are likely attributable to Schoolcraft, who was often careless about details, or to what always happens when someone who does not understand the nuances of a language and its grammar tries to use select words out of context. Reception and influence. In August 1855, the New York Times carried an item on Longfellow's new poem, quoting an article from another periodical which said that it is very original, and has the simplicity and charm of a saga. It is the very antipodes, of Alfred Lord Tennyson's Maud, which is M. Despite the critics, the poem was immediately popular with readers and continued so for many decades. The Grolier Club named the Song of Hiawatha the most influential book of 1855. Lydia Sigourney was inspired by the book to write a similar epic poem on Pocahontas, though she never completed it. English writer George Eliot called the Song of Hiawatha, along with Nathaniel Hawthorne's 1850 book The Scarlet Letter, the two most indigenous and masterly productions in American literature.